If you know who I'm talking about, then you got me. My biggest enemy is me, and even I can't stop me. They try to shut us down and it ain't gon' slide. Only thing I fear is God and he on my side. That's the confidence I got, cause he got me. That's why I really feel like you can't stop me.
What is up, folks? My name is Brandon Garcia. I am Coach B, and this is the next podcast. I hope you guys caught that last podcast. That was really great. Cassidy is awesome. Her story is incredible, and I really love talking to her and getting to know her a little bit more, and I hope you guys did too. And I hope that her story at least inspired you to either keep going or get up off the couch. Her story is one of those stories that if she can do it, you can do it. You've just got to put your mind to it, right? And that takes me right into what I want to talk about today, which is my number one fitness hack, okay? This is the thing that will make or break whether or not you're successful in your fitness journey, okay? Whether or not you're successful in any journey. And it boils down to a question. How committed are you? We were talking about nutrition actually last night with a few of our clients. And you know they're frustrated with their progress, and understandably so. They were kind of stuck, and the question came up like, how committed are you? In my head, right? Because we're talking about nutrition, and they're like, well, I don't like doing this, and I don't like doing that, and I get really tired of eggs all the time, or chicken, or different things like that. And I understand that mentality. I do. Like it really gets monotonous eating the same thing every single day, day in and day out for every meal, right? I get that, okay? But in the midst of that conversation, we started to talk about one of our other coaches, my wife, all right? She started to talk about, well, we do this for our eggs and this for our chicken, and then we mix in some she started listing all these things, kind of like hacks like we do. And I understood where she was going, but as I saw this conversation developing, I saw where it was headed, and I cut it off. And I said, before we go down that road of here's some tips and tricks you can do so that you don't get bored with your food, you need to understand that if you want the result that you want, then you need to eat for the result, not for the taste of the food, okay? And I can't take credit for that particular quote. A guy named C.T. Fletcher, a pretty inspirational, pretty incredible trainer that I follow, said that. That's his thing. He had so many clients complaining, like, oh, I can't eat that. That's so nasty. He's like, why does it matter if it's good or if it's nasty? I mean, food is food. If you're eating real food, it's going to be good. And you need to eat for the result. If you want to lose weight, you need to eat with the result in mind, okay? You need to change your mindset, which is the number one fitness hack. My number one fitness hack is you need to get your mind right. You need to get your brain focused on what it is you're trying to accomplish, and you have to go all in, okay? In all things moderation, including moderation. There are some things that you have to be all in on. And if you are not all in on them, they will not work. If you're somebody who's got 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds or more to lose, you are not going to lose those pounds with an attitude of moderation. It's not going to happen. If you've got that much weight to lose, it must become your obsession. It has to. For a small chunk of time, for a season of your life, you have to become obsessed with getting your weight under control. Once you have your weight under control, then you can start talking about, okay, now I need to live in moderation. Now I need to look at how am I seasoning my food? How am I mixing up my diet? You get to look at those different things. But until you get there, you don't get that choice. You have to live in an extreme because you lived in the other extreme for so many years. What do I mean? You lived in the extreme of neglecting your body, whether it's neglecting exercise or neglecting a proper diet or neglecting mobility or whatever it is. You lived in an extreme where you neglected something for a long time. You have to now swing the pendulum the other way to kind of rebalance this and then allow it to come back. You've got to get your mind focused, straightforward, razor sharp focus on the goal. And you have to take no prisoners, do whatever it takes attitude to get there. Once you're there, then you can step back and say, okay, how can I do this in moderation? Then you can step back and say, you know what, I can have a donut and be okay. I can have a slice of pizza and be okay. But if you're not there, if you haven't hit your ideal body weight, or let's go past that, let's get you to an ideal body fat percentage, you have to be a totalitarian when it comes to your diet and your exercise and your overall fitness and wellness regimen. You have to. There is no middle ground. So if you've got weight to lose, you have to become obsessed with the process and make sure 100% that you are following the plan. You need to build a plan that you know is going to work, and you have to follow it to a T. There can be no falling off. There can be no backsliding. There's no softness here. There are trainers out there who will tell you, like, oh, well, if you have a bad meal, it's okay. Don't stress about it. And I do agree with that statement. But the sentiment, the message that they're sending is that it's okay to fall off the wagon sometimes. I'm here and I'm going to tell you the truth. If you want to hit your goals, it's not okay. You don't get to fall off the wagon until you hit your goals, because you're not falling off the wagon, okay? You're stepping off of it. You're in a situation where you have a choice to eat the cake or not eat the cake. You have a choice to have pizza or choose something better. You have a choice to work out or not. And you're choosing the wrong thing and calling it, well, I fell off the wagon. Let's be honest about this, folks. You're not falling off the wagon. You are intentionally choosing to step off because you don't think it's a big deal. You don't think it's a big deal until you step off once. You quote unquote fall off once. It happens once. You're like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then it happens again. Oh, it's not a big deal. And it happens again. Oh, it's not a big deal. And then instead of happening once, it happens 2 days in a row. And then 2 days turns into 5 days. And 5 days turns into a week. And you've blown off a week. So you're like, I guess I'll restart next month. And then that month goes by and the next month comes around. You're like, you know what? I'm just not going to get a hold of it. I'll wait till the new year. And now you're right back where you started because you refused to commit to changing your life for a season of your life. You don't have to live a totalitarian lifestyle for your entire life. But until you get to your goal body fat percentage, until you get to your goal size, until you get to your goal fitness level, you don't get to give yourself a break. It's just not how it works. You have to be fully committed. If you're not, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And you're always going to complain that you've quote unquote tried everything. But really what it was is you dabbled in a couple of things, didn't really fully commit, and then blamed that particular system or that trainer or that gym or that diet for this one didn't work. Well, it didn't work because you didn't go all in for a long enough period of time. So my number one fitness hack for you guys, and I'm making this short on purpose, is you need to get your mindset squared away. First things first. Number one, extreme clarity. What is the goal? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this to lose weight? Because if you are, then that needs to be the goal. And nothing can derail you from that until you've lost the weight. Period. Otherwise, you're going to end up in this place where you kind of sort of, maybe you'll lose 5 or 10 pounds. And then you have a couple of days or a couple of weeks where you backslide a little bit. And now all of a sudden you've regained 10 or 15. So you lost 5 or 10, but then you gained it back and then some. Guys, that's how that works. If you quote unquote live in moderation, you're not going to reach your goal. You're going to bounce back and forth, or you're going to yo-yo back and forth. You've got to commit 100%. You have to have absolute 100% crystal clear clarity on what you're trying to accomplish. And if you don't, you won't get there. Get your mind right, decide what your goal is, and go laser focus all in on it until you get there. Then you can step back and say, all right, now I'm going to do this in moderation. If that's really what you're trying to accomplish, that's what needs to happen. If you want to lose the weight, you have to be laser focused and committed. If you want to get fitter, you have to be laser focused and committed. Not for your entire lifetime, but for a season of your life, you have to block out anything that's going to take you away from that goal. And if you aren't willing to do that, you need to understand you will not ever hit that goal. That's just the truth. And it may sound harsh and it may sound mean, but that is the truth. So what is it? What is your goal? Focus on it. Give yourself some clarity on what that actually is. Actually take time to process what that means. What does it mean to reach that goal? What does it mean to you? Now, what is it going to take? What is the level of work that you're going to have to put in? And how long are you going to have to do that realistically? Okay? For those of you out there like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to do it in 2 months. Folks, that's not going to work. Okay? You might pull it off. You might pull off losing 20 pounds in 2 months. That might actually happen. But are you going to keep it off? Not likely. Not likely. You need to commit to a long-term goal and establish long-term habits so that when you get to a place where you have reached that goal and you're sustaining that goal, if you have a day or two here or even a week or two here or there, it's not going to completely derail you or reset you back to the beginning. It is a long-term commitment for a chunk of your life, not your whole life, just a chunk of it. Once you've reached the goal, then you can start thinking about, have I established enough habit to make this happen long term? Okay, if I have, now I can relax a little bit because I'm going to fall back to the habits that I've already built. All right? It's an old quote. I don't know who said it off the top of my head. This is, you won't rise to the level of the expectation. You'll fall to the level of your training. Okay? You won't rise to the occasion to reach your goal because it's motivating. You're going to fall back on the habits that you've already built. If the habits you've already built won't get you to the goal, you need to rebuild your habits. And that's going to take time. It's going to take more than 2 months. It may take you years to rebuild and reprogram those habits in a way that makes your lifestyle sustainable. So you need to take a minute and be honest with yourself about what you want and what you're willing to do to get there. Are you willing to give up eating pizza for the next 2 years? Are you willing to do that? Because that's what I had to do. Are you willing to give up whatever you have to give up to get there? Are you willing to give up drinking wine? Are you willing to give up drinking beer for a year or 2 years to attain your goal? If you're not willing to do something that level of extreme, you're not going to get there. It's just not going to happen because your mind won't be in the right place. It just won't. So if you want to reach your goals, that's what it's going to take. Laser, hardcore, all-in focus. That is my number one fitness hack. Okay? If you guys have questions about that, you need help establishing what your goal actually is and getting coached through what your goal actually is. If you need help figuring out a plan to put together so that you can reach that goal, then you guys can just shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. Okay, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram, really easy. At XFitCoachB. X like the letter X. Okay, XFitCoachB. Okay, and that's Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And on Facebook, I'm Brandon S. Garcia. Okay, find me, shoot me a message, and I'll help you with that stuff. Okay, and if you need coaching through that, guess what? I have packages where you can get coaching to do that. We can do that, all right? But I want you guys to be successful. And so if you want to be successful in what you're doing, you need to put that together. You need to put together your mindset in a way that's going to push you towards the goal for a longer period of time than 60 days or 90 days or whatever the new, buzz time frame is. It's going to take you longer than that. You've spent a lifetime building poor habits. You're not going to change that in 60 days. Okay? You're going to have to establish those habits and that plan immediately, and then work those plans and work those habits for a long period of time before it becomes automatic. So, if you guys want to change your life, if you want to achieve your fitness goals, if you want to achieve your weight loss goals, if you want to achieve your work goals, your relationship goals, whatever that is, if you want to achieve those things, you need absolute crystal clear clarity on what that is, and then razor's edge focus for a long period of time to make sure that happens. That's it, folks. Number one fitness hack. Go and get stuff done, and I'll catch you next time. Later.
My biggest enemy is me, and even I can't stop me. They try to shut us down, and it ain't gon' slide. Only thing I fear is God, and He on my side. That's the confidence I got, 'cause He got me. That's why I really feel like you got